There are days when a single passing comment is enough to make your mind tremble for hours. A cold glance, an unintended remark, or even an unanswered message can stir a quiet uneasiness inside you. What is strange is that these things are often very small, yet the heaviness they leave behind can follow you until the end of the day. Many people believe they fear the noise of the outside world, but in truth, what we fear most is the fragility within ourselves, where even the slightest breeze can cause the flame of inner peace to flicker. Imagine a small lamp hidden deep within an ancient cave. No matter how fiercely the wind howls outside, no matter how strong the storm becomes, that tiny light remains steady, unmoving, undisturbed. This is the image of inner stillness in Buddhist teachings, the quiet strength that allows us to stand firm amid the unpredictable movements of life. In this video, we will walk through 7 practices that help nurture this stillness, so that even when the world refuses to calm down, your mind can always find a place of peace to return to. When you look closely at the moments that make your mind waver, you will see that what steals your peace is not the noise around you, but the unconscious reactions that often pull you away from yourself. Just a brief emotion rising can shift your inner energy off balance. That is why our journey today is not about changing circumstances, but about returning to the original source of energy that has always existed within you. Each principle we will explore opens a deeper layer of understanding, helping you learn how to keep your mind steady in the midst of life's constant changes. Lesson 1. Keep your energy for what truly nourishes you. When you begin to look deeply into how your mind operates each day, you will realize that your energy is like a vast garden. In that garden, there are flowers that need care in order to bloom, such as peace, compassion, clarity, and wisdom. But there are also weeds that quietly grow whenever you are not paying attention. These weeds are the meaningless arguments, the gossip that has nothing to do with your path, and the scattered emotions that only bring disturbance. What is important to see is that every time you get caught up in such things, you are unintentionally watering the weeds instead of tending to the flowers your heart truly needs. Not every word you hear deserves a reaction. Not everything that happens should be carried into your heart. The Buddha taught that peace is a precious treasure, and that treasure grows only when you choose wisely where to plant it. If you give your time and attention to trivial matters, your inner garden will slowly wither like a space overtaken by weeds. But if you reserve your energy for what nourishes you, that garden will blossom over time. Before every situation that stirs your emotions, pause for a moment and ask yourself one simple but important question. Does this help my heart bloom, or does it cause it to wilt? Just that single question can help you see clearly what truly matters. If something brings you lightness, peace, or growth, it is a flower. If it brings anger, exhaustion, or drains your energy, it is a weed. When you learn to choose what is worthy of your nourishment, you are entering a very deep form of Buddhist wisdom. You no longer chase after the noise of the world, but instead you cultivate your inner garden with mindfulness. And when that garden becomes full of blooming flowers, you will realize that many things which once upset you were never worthy of the precious energy you carry within. Lesson 2. Do not seek your true worth in the eyes of others. As you step deeper into the garden of your own energy, you will begin to recognize an important truth. Many of your insecurities do not come from who you truly are, but from the image you try to become in the eyes of other people. When a person's worth is tied to praise or acceptance from outside, the mind can never be steady. It becomes like a mirror placed outdoors, reflecting whatever light happens to fall upon it. Sometimes it shines brightly, sometimes it turns dull, sometimes it glimmers beautifully. Yet with just a gust of dust-filled wind, it becomes blurred and unclear again. That mirror can never reveal your true nature. It only reflects the environment around it. The Buddha taught that the root of freedom lies in the ability to know oneself. When you understand where you are going, what you live for, and what makes your heart feel light, you will no longer be shaken by the shifting opinions and glances of the world. Others may adore you today and turn away tomorrow. They may praise you in this moment and criticize you in the next. If your heart clings to those fluctuations, you will never experience lasting peace. Return to yourself and ask what makes you most authentic, not what pleases others, but what makes your mind brighter, steadier, and more compassionate each day. To nurture this understanding, you can practice a simple exercise at the end of the day. Before going to sleep, ask yourself three gentle but essential questions. Did I live truthfully today? Did I do anything that made my conscience uneasy? And finally, did I treat myself with kindness? These three questions act like small lamps illuminating your inner world, helping you see what your true values are and what is merely a shadow cast by the perception of others. When you begin to confirm your worth from within, that outdoor mirror will no longer have the power to determine whether your mind feels bright or dim. Only then will you step into the freedom the Buddha spoke of, where each step feels lighter because you are no longer living to satisfy anyone, but to become the most genuine version of yourself. Lesson 3. Reaction is habit, response is awareness. When you begin to look deeply into the way you respond in daily life, you will realize that most of your actions do not come from awareness, but from long-rooted habits. Just one unpleasant comment or a single unexpected situation can make powerful waves rise within the mind. These reactions appear so quickly that we mistake them for our true nature. In reality, they're like a drop of ink falling into a glass of water. The moment the ink touches the water, it spreads rapidly, darkening the entire glass, even though the true nature of the water is clear. Impulsive reactions work in the same way. Just one unmindful moment is enough to stain the inner space before we even notice. In Buddhist teachings, there is an important lesson that wisdom does not lie in the reaction, but in the moment we know how to pause. That pause may be small, but it is the place where we decide whether the mind will remain bright or fall into disturbance, whether we choose calm or chaos. A single mindful breath can save a conversation from collapsing and can save us from words we may later regret. In this lesson, you can practice a simple yet effective method. Whenever you feel anger rising or the urge to respond immediately, stop. Inhale for 4 seconds and exhale for 6 seconds. Repeat this 3 times, and as your breath moves gently in and out, ask yourself, am I seeing this through emotion or through truth? This one question opens a door for the mind to step out of the grip of temporary feelings, just as the glass of water begins to settle and the ink stops spreading. When you train yourself to respond instead of react, you are stepping onto the path of inner mastery. You are no longer clouded by the ink of anger, but become the one who governs the clarity within. Once the mind has settled, your words grow lighter, your actions become wiser, and the things that once threw you into turmoil will no longer hold the power to lead you as they once did. Lesson 4. Everyone sees the world through their own wounds. When you begin to look more deeply into the reactions of the people around you, you will discover something very revealing. No one truly sees the world with completely clear eyes. Each person sees life through the eyes that have walked through their own experiences, memories, and unhealed wounds. That is why the same words can be heard calmly by one person, painfully by another, joyfully by someone else, and with anger by yet another. They are not reacting to you. They are reacting to the history within themselves. And you feel hurt not because they do not understand you, but because you hoped they would see you with eyes that even you do not always have. The Buddha taught that all misunderstandings arise from clinging to our own subjective view. If we expect others to fully understand us, we will always be disappointed, because no one can step into our mind to witness every layer of emotion, every quiet sorrow, or every path we have walked. Letting go of the desire to be completely understood does not make you colder. It makes your heart lighter. You no longer feel the need to explain, to prove, or to justify your existence. You simply live truthfully with yourself. To nurture this sense of peace, You can practice a small exercise. Whenever someone hurts you or reacts excessively, pause and ask yourself, what pain is this person reacting from? This question acts like a doorway that opens into understanding rather than judgment, helping you shift from anger into compassion. When you can see the wound inside another person, you no longer see them as an adversary, but as a human being struggling with something they have not yet learned how to heal. When you release the desire to be perfectly seen and instead choose to look at others with empathy, you open a vast space of peace within your own heart. And in that gentle space, you begin to understand what the Buddha meant when he taught that peace does not come from changing others, but from realizing that everyone is walking through their own suffering in the best way they know how. Lesson 5. Emotions are guests, the mind is the host. When you understand that everyone sees life through their own wounds, you naturally begin to observe the waves of emotion rising within yourself. And here lies a profound teaching in Buddhism. Emotions are not enemies, nor are they something that makes you lesser. Emotions are simply visitors knocking on the door of the inner home each person carries. You are the host, and they only come to stay for a short while before leaving when their time is over. Suffering begins the moment you forget you are the host and allow these guests to walk in freely, create disorder, and occupy all the space inside. Imagine your mind as a warm, quiet home. Each time anger, sadness, or fear arises, it is the sound of someone knocking at the door. Emotions have the right to knock, but you are under no obligation to open the door to all of them. If you identify yourself with the emotion, believing I am angry, I am sad, I am failing, you have unwittingly handed over the keys of your home to guests who may not treat it well. But if you view them simply as travelers passing through, you will be able to preserve the peaceful space within. A simple practice can help you with this. When an emotion appears, call it by its name. This is anger. This is sadness. This is fear. When you name it clearly, the emotion loses much of the power it had over you. Then greet it as a visiting guest. Do not resist it. Do not chase it away. Simply acknowledge its presence with gentleness. And finally, let it leave when the time comes. You do not keep a guest longer than necessary, nor do you force them out. Everything unfolds naturally. As you practice this, you will gradually notice that you are no longer swept away by strong waves of emotion. Your mind can remain still even when emotions knock repeatedly, because you now know with clarity that you are the host of this inner house. And when the home of your mind becomes clean, spacious, and filled with light, you will realize that peace is not something distant at all, but something always available in every moment of mindful awareness. Lesson 6. Peace is not a gift. It is a discipline. When you have learned to see emotions as guests visiting the home of your mind, you will begin to realize that true peace does not come from having no visitors at all, but from knowing how to keep the inner space bright and steady no matter who arrives. And here lies an important truth. Peace is not a gift someone can hand to you, nor is it something that a fortunate circumstance will automatically provide. Peace is a discipline. It is the steady, conscious, and consistent care you offer your own mind every single day, just as if you were guarding a sacred energy sanctuary that only you hold the key to protect. Imagine that within you lies a vast sanctuary, a place that holds light, stillness, and the life force that nourishes your spirit. Each time you allow someone to pull you into an argument, each time you let a single comment shake your heart, you have unknowingly opened the door of that sanctuary and allowed the storm to rush in. No one has the right to enter and damage that place unless you open the door yourself, and no one can protect it for you. This is the very essence of what the Buddha taught. The mind must train itself. No one can practice in your place. No one can cultivate peace on your behalf, and no one can hold the key to your inner world except you. To build this discipline, you can begin with a simple morning practice. Before stepping into a new day, place your hand over your heart and whisper a promise to yourself. Today, I will not hand my emotional control to anyone. This morning vow becomes a protective gate surrounding your inner sanctuary, reminding you that no matter what happens, the choice of whether your mind stays bright or falls into darkness is always yours. As you repeat this vow regularly, you will notice that you are no longer easily swept into the unstable movements of life. You become steadier, lighter, and far less affected by things that never deserved your energy in the first place. And that is the discipline of someone who knows how to care for peace from within. Lesson 7. Understanding impermanence. So you do not get trapped in small things. As you begin to cultivate the discipline of protecting your inner peace, you will soon realize that many of the things that trouble you are not as big as they once seemed. There are matters that today feel irritating, worrying, or heavy like a burden, yet just a week, a month, or even a few days later, they no longer hold any meaning. This is because the nature of all things is constant change. And when you truly understand this impermanence, your mind naturally becomes lighter, no longer clinging to small disturbances that cause unnecessary suffering. Imagine life as a vast ocean. Every event that occurs is merely a small wave brushing against the shore. When it first rises, you may see it as large, loud, and overwhelming, as though it could sweep you away. But when you step back and look more widely, you will see that a single small wave can never change the nature of the entire ocean. Your mind is the same. Momentary discomforts, careless words, or small misunderstandings are only ripples on the surface of the sea. If you spend all your energy fighting them, you will become exhausted. But if you view them through the lens of impermanence, you will see how quickly they arise and disappear, and how unworthy they are of costing you your peace. In Buddhist teachings, impermanence is not something meant to sadden us, but to awaken us and help us choose what truly matters. When you understand that all emotions, circumstances, and people are constantly shifting from moment to moment, you no longer get stuck in trivial things. Your mind expands, your perspective grows wider, and your heart becomes more peaceful. To develop this capacity, you can practice a small journaling exercise at the end of each day. Write down 3 things you treated too seriously today. When you look back, you may realize that most of them were merely fleeting waves. This practice helps you become familiar with seeing life from a broader viewpoint, so your mind is not swept away by things that were never deserving of such weight in the first place. As you reach the end of this journey, you have stepped through 7 gateways of inner understanding. You have learned to keep your energy for what truly nourishes you, instead of allowing your mind to be overtaken by meaningless weeds. You have learned to find your worth in your own authenticity, no longer shaken by the shifting opinions of others. You have recognized the difference between reacting and responding, so that the ink of emotion no longer clouds the clarity of your mind. You have begun to see others with compassion because you understand that everyone carries their own unhealed wounds. You now view emotions as visitors who come and go, while the mind remains the steady home within. You know that peace is not a gift, but a discipline you cultivate each day. And finally, you see the nature of impermanence clearly, freeing yourself from becoming entangled in the small troubles that once brought you suffering. Calmness is not an escape from life. It is the strength to stand firmly within yourself. May you carry these principles like guiding lanterns along your path. May you walk with peace, remain awake to each moment, and always find the light that is waiting quietly inside your life.